My name is Dan Verano, former chef, teacher. I've been associated with Mark Ramsey and in his farm for over 30 years. And we just finished a cookbook, our second edition. He just mentioned we're going to be working on a third edition. Some of the recipes that we have, we're going to do one of them today. And I'm excited to do it for you. One of the most important things about being on a farm is fresh vegetables, right? And understanding that fresh vegetables that are great for you, and you should have them in your diet. And we're going to put together a dish called salsa, and nothing's written in stone. We give you a recipe. We could play around with that recipe. You don't like this in it, you don't like that in it, you want this in it, and I'm going to explain that to you as we go along. Look at all the beautiful colors of the produce. And each time that they pick, in each season, or 4 weeks from now, and 2 weeks from now, and a week from now, you're going to see a different vegetable come up here, and it's going to be a different color, and it just brings brightness into your dish. And that's what we're looking to do here. So today we're making a grilled corn salsa. And I'm going to show you also that not only that this salsa could be used as an appetizer, it can be used as a salad by adding some other things to it, or we're going to use it to accompaniment a main dish, and I'm going to show you the trick on that to do that. So you ready to go? Some of the ingredients that we're going to be using today are red onions, right? We're going to use the red onions. We want color in the dish, so we're going to use some red peppers, some green bell peppers, and some yellow or orange bell peppers. Fresh corn that we're going to be using. Cilantro, which is an herb, that beautiful permeated smell that you get when you pick it. How many of you picked some before? Sure, you like picking the herbs, the basil and things like that. Isn't this great being here every day? I think so. Some of the other ingredients we're going to be using is some red wine vinegar, and we can substitute also with some lime juice, some salt, Tabasco sauce, Worcestershire sauce, black pepper, some olive oil. And a little trick that I'm going to do, and I'm going to explain that to you, is I'm going to use a little bit of V8 juice because we're going to eat this today. If we were going to marinate it and let it stay a day, then some of the juices from the vegetables would come out. So we want some instantaneous gratification from the vegetables. We're going to add a little bit of food acid to it, or vegetable juice to it, and that's to bring it out. You ready to rock? I am too, all right? Okay, so ahead of time what I've done is I pre-cut some vegetables because this is a lot. So this took 40 minutes to cut these, okay? So you could do this at home for what we have, and you take your time. The most important thing is that you take your time, you use correct knives, sharp knives, right? And you always be careful. I'm gonna talk to you about that. And you use a nice steel. You wanna use a serrated knife. I use that for tomatoes. It's easy to cut, and a paring knife, okay? First thing we're going to do is we're going to cut a red onion. And what I did was I took the onion, I split it in half. I didn't cut the end off because I want it to hold together, okay? Can we all see this? I'll move this over a little bit for now. So red onion. We want everything that we cut to be uniform in size. So when you eat it, it has that same texture in your mouth all the time, all right? And the appearance looks good. So we don't want a big piece of onion and a small piece of pepper, right? So everything goes together in your mouth. First thing we're going to do is we're going to cut the onion into the line of diagonal, okay? So we're going to cut through it. Make sure your knives are sharp. Keep your fingers back. Now we made that into a fan, right? See that? Made that into a fan. Going with the lines of the onion. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut across that fan, and we're going to make slices the thickness of what we want, which is roughly a 1/4 inch thick. Okay? So everything that we cut here today, we want minimum of a 1/4 inch thick. We're going to come across and give it 2 cuts through the onion, keeping your fingers back like a claw, always, whenever you're cutting, okay? Keeping it back, and now I'm going to go right through it And we're gonna get all this here into uniform sizes. They're all the same size. Wasn't hard, right? I didn't push the knife through. I want to protect my hands, okay? Your hand is like a claw. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut peppers, okay? Yellow, red, and green peppers. But if I show you how to do one or two, you'll know how to do the third, okay? Two ways to cut it. We could cut it into a lobe. This is a lobe, okay? Or we cut into a spiral. In a spiral, we cut the top off, we cut the bottom off, right? We could keep these for making an omelet or something. We make a slit. We take our knife and we go across the knife. These little sticks have a word, and it's called julienne. Julienne. And then from julienne, we're cutting it into small dice. Fingers back. Okay, so we have our peppers, we have our onions. Now we're going to do our tomatoes. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a knife, and this is called a paring knife. I'm going to take this part of where the stem goes. I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to take the tip of the knife, put my fingers on it, and never go like this, but go on an angle to take the core out of the tomato. I hate flies. I'm going to use my serrated knife. That's that little trick knife. It cuts better than this with a skin. Anything with a skin, a serrated knife works real well. And we're going to cut that into 1/4-inch slices into the pieces, cut it into strips. Downward, forward. We're going downward, forward, not lifting the knife over my hand. Take our bench scraper. Again, separate containers for everything. The next thing is it's called a grilled corn salsa. So what we're going to do now is we have some corn on the fire that we preheated the grill, and then we cook the corn on there for about 20-25 minutes on the grill. When we boil corn, it only takes 8 minutes from the time that you drop the corn until the time you pull it out. So this is a little bit longer, but it has that char flavor. It has a char flavor, and I kind of like that. Be careful of the grill. Grill's hot. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the corn off, and we're going to cut that into kernels, okay? Let me shut the grill so it doesn't get smoky in here. Now the neat thing about this is, and you got to be careful too because tin foil is hot, what I did was I took the tin foil and I rubbed it with olive oil, because we have olive oil in the salad that we're making, right? And I put salt and pepper on it, and then I put it on the grill. For how many minutes? Very good. That was very good. 20 minutes, and you turn it occasionally. So, and what we're going to do is cut the kernels off the corn. So I stand it up on the paper plate, and then I cut down on it to take all the kernels off. There's another little habit that I like to use, and it's a good habit, is that I take the back of my knife when I'm done and I'm making succotash or I'm making corn Mexican, and I take the back of my knife and I cut through it, and that gives me the cream of the corn. So it adds a little texture to what you're eating. So it's a little smoothness to it, okay? In this particular case today, we're not going to be doing that. But that's a little trick how you get cream corn. They actually take a machine that cuts the cream out, and that's what it's called, cream corn. The next thing that we use, and I already pre-cut some, was some cilantro. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut a little bit up for you to give you an idea how I love that smell, don't you? How we mince the cilantro to add to our salsa. I bunch the cilantro up into a little purse, and it's a great way to do it when you use basil, parsley, but try to bunch it up. And again, what's this stroke? Downward, forward. Keep your fingers back. So we're getting little ribbons out of it, and then I'm going to come across. So what we're not doing is we're not banging the knife on the table. It's not loud, and it cut it. It's called minciere. It's called mincing, okay? The best part right now, here's what we're doing. We got it. We have our cilantro, our tomatoes, green peppers, red peppers, orange or yellow peppers, corn, onions, and our spices and herbs. Hi? Not hard, is it? And now we're going to mix it. Clean bowls, right? Always something clean. We're going to add this. And there's no specific way of what comes first, who's on second. Keep everything nice and clean, because if you cook, you also have to clean, right? So the biggest mess that you make, you're going to have to clean that up yourself, and you don't want to do that. Tomatoes with the juice. Now if you were here on this side of the table, you would see that the tomatoes leached means comes out of it, something comes out of it, and it had some tomato juice. Red peppers, isn't that great? I love every time I come here to cook something, and you come through the seasons, it's always a different kind of a vegetable. It's very important to have an association with your neighborhood farmers and farms. I know when I buy something here and I come here and I have a local farm that I'm getting something from, I'm getting the freshest picked vegetable that you could have. Okay, so we have all our ingredients that are dry. That's a lot, huh? Oh my God, how are we going to stir this? Yep. So you're going to watch this come all together, and you're going to see a confetti of colors. I can't wait. I can't wait to see this, how this is going to come out. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to help it along. The secret ingredient is using a V8 juice or tomato juice, okay? So I'm using about 20 ounces. And why am I doing this? Because we're going to eat this today, right? And it adds richness to the dish. You can use tomato juice, V8 juice, Snappy Tom. I like V8 juice with it. If there's any questions that you have, or you just pop up. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce another acid, tomatoes and acid, okay? I'm going to add another acid, which I'm going to use. I said to you I could use lime juice. I prefer fresh lime, or I can use some red wine vinegar. This adds a punch to it. I could taste it already. By just opening up that top, I could taste the vinegar, you know? So we're going to use, for this amount, the recipe that you're going to get is for 4 people, and we're going to put in roughly about 1/4 cup, okay, for this amount, all right? So the recipe calls for 3 tablespoons, I think. I'm going to add some salt to this, and again, a recipe can be changed. I don't like to add a lot of salt to the beginning, because the natural flavors and natural sodium and sugars I want to taste, and the V8 juice has some sodium in it. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some Tabasco. And you could add serrano peppers to it if you want to make it a little hotter. Remember I said you could do whatever you want. Why? Because it's your dish. I'm going to add some Worcestershire sauce, and what that's going to do is add body to it. And again, I'm pouring because I've done this a number of times, but you follow that recipe and then you can play with what you want more or less in it. Follow me? Okay. So there's about 2 tablespoons. Black pepper. And I'm going to put, for this amount, about 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. And lastly, for richness, I use 100% olive oil. You could use it, you don't have to use it, but I prefer to use it, okay? So I'm going to add about, again, 1/4 cup of olive oil to it. All right, now look at the colors mixed together, right? And they were all the same a little while ago. Now, we could do other things with this, right? We could put cannelloni beans in here for protein if we want. Okay, we could take this and if we wanted to, take some aside and we could put shrimp in here, cooked shrimp. All right, have a shrimp and salsa, right, dish. Could be a salad that way, couldn't it? Now watch what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna take some of our salsa and put it into a bowl, so when you have people coming over your house and you're thinking of something to have before dinner, now we're going to go into dinner, okay? So we have this, and what I did was I made some pita chips, okay? We toasted these off, right? And I made my own, and this goes with it, okay? Sometimes you get a little bit energetic. Instead of opening up a bag, you can make them. It's very, very simple to do. And now what we're going to do, this is exciting. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to make a dish using the same ingredients. Nice big plate at home. We're going to take a pita. I grilled a piece of chicken, okay? Very, very simple, grilled a piece of chicken. And now what I'm gonna do, and I sliced it up, is then I'm going to lay it out, simple grilled piece of chicken. But instead of making chips, I folded it over and I pan fried it. So I have a base. Then what I'm gonna do is I made a little, remember we have cilantro? So I made a little cilantro oil. Cilantro, pureed it with some olive oil, right? And a little seasoning. Add our salsa to it. I'm gonna take some cilantro oil for a nice luncheon, right? Little chicken with, and we have a different plate. We have a different plate now than just dipping your chips into it. So that could be done a lunch or a dinner, and it wasn't that difficult to do.